Today I'm going to talk about macronutrients. So these are your carbohydrates, fats and protein. There is actually a fourth one, alcohol, which maybe is another video, to be honest with you. But lots of patients over the course of their journey are quite keen to find out what their macros should be and whether, even if they're relevant in the first place, okay? So I'm going to talk them through all three of them and why they're beneficial and why we probably need all of them, and we can kind of build from there. So the first one I'm going to talk about is probably the granddaddy of them all, the ones we talk about quite a lot, is protein. Particularly in the early stages, you'll hear a lot about protein, making sure you're getting usually sort of 60 grams, maybe building it up to 80 grams. For every gram of protein, there's 4 calories in it. And sometimes you hear people go, oh, protein's very calorific, and it's simply not. I mean, even if someone was hitting 100 grams of protein a day, that's only 400 calories. Now, the reason it's so important is, I mean, there's a long list from, it's very metabolic, it's good for your metabolism, it's great for retaining lean muscle mass, which is a key goal as part of this process. Cell regrowth, enzyme function. There's a long list as to why protein needs to be part of this process. And we understand that, you know, you might be reliant on supplementation, particularly in those early stages. But I think that certainly there should be a desire to diversify over time, that through sort of meals and you know, meats and fishes, or you know, tofu, lentils, beans. There's different options for different kind of diets that maybe people might be looking to adhere to, but it needs to be present. And I suppose we don't want to be over reliant on supplementation, because taste fatigue is absolutely a thing. So if we have something quite a lot, we get a bit bored of it. If we're over-reliant on the supplementation, then suddenly you might find that you've got a problem hitting protein targets because you've no longer got that as a go-to. But protein will be a part of this process. It needs to be really, really concentrated on for numerous health benefits. It's also long-term very good for diet. It's very filling, which obviously in the early stages post-op isn't so much of a thing, because naturally the band, the balloon, the sleeve, the bypass will be aiding you. But over time, there's no harm making sure we're nice and full throughout the day and topping up with protein accordingly. Carbohydrates, similar to protein. For every gram of carb, there is 4 calories. It gets a bad name, carbs. I think like the refined sugars types of carbohydrate, not very filling, very moreish, and this can lead to long-term problems when it comes to diet. Certainly binge eating, because you can get quite a lot in. It's very tasty. People eat more and more and more of it. There's habits to be built around there with regards to our brain and enjoying the food. So we've got to be mindful of it. I think things like environment, boredom are big factors when it comes to over-consuming carbohydrates. But let's remember, carbohydrates can work for us in many ways. Vegetables, fruit, fiber, these need to be part of our program. Of course, there's certain conditions, diabetes, that we need to be more mindful about carbohydrates. But if there's no condition in place, I think we can work with carbs. I think that another big part of carbohydrates is making sure we are living an active lifestyle. The body's preferred source of energy when performing exercise is carbohydrates. So you can see the benefit of maybe topping yourself out throughout the day, have an understanding of the numbers to a certain extent, but we shouldn't be fearful of them, that we want to live a balanced lifestyle over time. But that's carbohydrates with regards to, and is there a right amount to how many you should hit? Not really, okay? It depends on the calorie amount we're aiming for. So if you watch my calorie video around your basal metabolic rate, that's going to vary from patient to patient. So there's not a set amount of carbs you should be having. Protein, yes, 60 to 80 grams, maybe building to 100. Going on to fats, for every gram of fat, there's 9 calories. So you can see now through every gram of protein, 4 calories, every gram of carb, 4 calories, every gram of fat, 9 calories. These create your total amount if you're not having alcohol. And it's working with protein first. Can we build a balance of carbs and fats in place? We need fat in our diet as well. We certainly don't want to be too low fat. People on paper might hear that 1 gram of fat, 9 calories, let's avoid it. No, we need fat in our diet for numerous health benefits as well. When it comes to mood, when it comes to, I mean, all different layers why we need fat in our diet. So the game is really to kind of have a balance with protein first and understanding carbs and fats and how they'll work for you. Of course, overindulging on things like trans fats, which is not the good stuff, or refined sugars, is not the answer here. But sort of utilising how these macros can work for us throughout this journey and topping up accordingly as and when we may need them, keeping protein present throughout, will be how success lies going throughout this. Again, similar to calories, I don't think it needs to be overthought. I don't think it needs to be overplayed, but an awareness of them and making them work for you can be very beneficial throughout.